about on the machine. And this one is quite scary for lots of beginner sewers. I'm talking about the tension dial, which is this little one here. Tension helps you control how tight or loose the stitches are on your machine. And the dial goes from 1 to 9. Now most machines will come as standard with it set at roughly a 3 or a 4. And this is the mid-range of tension for most machines. In fact, on a lot of machines, the actual ideal number is highlighted. So on this machine, you can see there is a box around the number 4. There is also a box around the number 5 and the number 3. And this indicates the mid-range of tension. But as I get lower, you can see there are no longer any boxes around those numbers, and the same for when I get higher. This is the manufacturer's subtle way of telling you that the ideal tension range for this machine is 3 to 5, and right in the middle of 4 is usually perfect. Now, for most modern machines, tension does not need to be changed. There's a common misconception that if your machine isn't stitching right, the stitches look unusual, or if you're getting loops underneath the fabric, that there's a problem with the tension. But in our experience, this is rarely the case, especially with modern machines. If you have an issue with the tension on your stitches, it's most likely a threading issue. If your bobbin isn't properly engaged, if your top thread hasn't gone through all of the thread guides, or if somehow it's come out of your needle, this is going to affect your stitches. The only times that you would need to change your tension is if you were sewing a very light or a very heavy fabric. But you should always let your stitches be your guide. If when you're sewing, your stitches look very tight and like they're actually pinching the fabric, that simply means you need to loosen your tension. If, on the other hand, your stitches look very loose and you can easily pull them out of the fabric, you may need to tighten your tension. Tension is very simple. The lower numbers mean looser tension, the higher numbers mean tighter tension. So you should only ever adjust the tension dial by one number at a time. If your machine is on a 4 as standard and you want to loosen the tension, just drop it down to 3, do a little test and see how it looks. If you're on a 4 and you need to increase your tension, then move it up to 5 and see how that looks. Very occasionally you might want to move it up more than one number, but you should only ever adjust it one at a time, testing in between to see if that's improved your stitches. If you're a complete beginner, and you more than likely are if you're watching this, you'll be very pleased to know that you can ignore it completely. Leave it on 4 or whatever the standard tension is for your machine, and if you have any issues with your stitches, we guarantee it will be threading. So don't worry about it, put it out of your mind, everything's going to be fine.